Cob.
Cob.
Cobalt.
Cobalt.
Cobble.
Cobble.
The diplomats cobbled an agreement together. She cobbled together a tent from a few pieces of string and a sheet.
Cobbled.
Cobbled.
Cobbler.
Cobbler.
Peach cobbler.
I've never heard such a load of old cobblers. I've never heard such a load of old cobblers.
Cobblestone.
Cobblestone.
Cobra.
Cobra.
Cobweb.
Cobweb.
A brisk walk will soon blow the cobwebs away. A brisk walk will soon blow the cobwebs away. A brisk walk will soon blow the cobwebs away. A brisk walk will soon blow the cobwebs away.
Cobweb.
Cobweb site.
Cobweb site.
Coca.
Coca.
Cocaine.
Cocaine.
Coccyx.
Coccyx.
Cochineal.
Cochineal.
Cochlea.
Cochlea.
Cock.
Cock.
A cock crowed in the distance.
A cock pheasant rose from the hill in front of me. A cock and bull story about the dog eating her homework. A cock and bull story about the dog eating her homework.
She cocked her head and considered the offer.
He cocked a quizzical eyebrow at her. He cocked a quizzical eyebrow at her.
The little dog looked up and cocked its ears.
He has always tried to cock a snook at authority. He has always tried to cock a snook at authority.
Cockade.
Cockade.
Cock-a-doodle-doo.
Cock-a-doodle-doo.
Cock-a-hoop.
Cock-a-hoop.
Robert's cock-a-hoop about his new job.
Cock-a-leekie.
Cock-a-leekie.
Cockamamie.
Cockamamie.
That's a cockamamie idea.
Cockatoo.
Cockatoo.
Cockchafer.
Cockchafer.
Cockcrow.
Cockcrow.
Cocked hat.
Cocked hat.
My mother is such a good cook, she knocks everybody else into a cocked hat.
Cockerel.
Cockerel.
Cocker-spaniel.
Cocker-spaniel.
Cockeyed.
Cockeyed.
The whole idea is completely cockeyed.
I think you put that shelf up cockeyed.
Cockfight.
Cockfight.
Cockle.
Cockle.
Seeing her new baby just warms the cockles of your heart.
Cockney.
Cockney.
She has a broad Cockney accent. Cockle.
Cockle.
Cockpit.
Cockpit.
Cockroach.
Cockroach.
Coxcomb.
Coxcomb.
Cocksucker.
Cocksucker.
Cocksure.
Cocksure.
He seemed rather too cocksure for my liking.
Cocktail.
Cocktail.
A lethal cocktail of painkillers and whiskey.
The book contains a powerful cocktail of romance, family crises, and big business.
Cocktail bar.
Cocktail bar.
Cocktail dress.
Cocktail dress.
Cocktail lounge.
Cocktail lounge.
Cocktail party.
Cocktail party.
Cocktail shaker.
Cocktail shaker.
Cocktail stick.
Cocktail stick.
Cocktail waitress.
Cocktail waitress.
Cock up.
Cock-up.
He's made a monumental cock-up of his first assignment. There's been a cock-up over the tickets for the football on Saturday. There's been a cock-up over the tickets for the football on Saturday.
Cocky.
Cocky.
He's a cocky little man, and I don't like him.
Cocoa.
Cocoa.
A cup of cocoa.
Cocoa bean.
Cocoa bean.
Cocoa butter.
Cocoa butter.
Coconut.
Coconut.
Large tropical gardens of coconut palms. Desiccated coconut.
Coconut matting.
Coconut matting.
Coconut milk.
Coconut milk.
Coconut shy.
Coconut shy.
Cocoon.
Cocoon.
The baby peered out of its cocoon of blankets.
She was surrounded by the cocoon of a loving family.
She was cocooned in a reassuring network of friends and relatives. She was cocooned in a reassuring network of friends and relatives.
Usually she lay for ages cocooned in her warm bed.
A rich cocooned existence.
Cocooning. Cocooning. As our lives get busier, cocooning becomes more and more appealing. As our lives get busier, cocooning becomes more and more appealing.
COD.
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 2 cod fillets, please.
A cod English accent.
Coda.
Coda. Coda.
Coddle.
Coddle.
Don't coddle the child, he's fine.
Code.
Code.
The Torah is the basis for all the Jewish laws and their moral code.
Each state in the U.S. has a different criminal and civil code.
The judge ruled that there had been no breach of the code.
There were plans to introduce a dress code for civil servants.
The strict code of conduct that is so much a part of karate.
The Textile Services Association has drawn up a code of practice endorsed by the Office of Fair Trading. The Textile Services Association has drawn up a code of practice endorsed by the Office of Fair Trading.
All reports must be sent in code.
They didn't realize that we'd broken their secret code.
Goods that you order must have a product code.
Every item found on the archaeological dig is given a code number.
What's the code for Aberdeen?
Each path is coded to show the level of difficulty.
The researcher codes them X or Y. A coded message. I think kids should be taught how to code.
Coded.
Coded.
He sent a coded message to CIA headquarters.
The wires are color-coded for easy identification. The wires are color-coded for easy identification. They voiced their criticism in coded statements. They voiced their criticism in coded statements. Coded signals broadcast by the BBC radio transmitters.
Codeine.
Codeine.
Code name.
Code name.
A crime-busting operation codenamed Jeeves.
Codependent.
Codependent.
Coder.
Coder.
A coder's convention.
Code sharing.
Code sharing.
Code word.
Code word.
Lively discussion is a code word for argument.
Codex.
Codex.
A 6th century codex.
Codger.
Codger.
Codicil.
Codicil.
Codify.
Codify.
Coding.
Coding.
Most petrol stations use colour coding for different types of petrol.
A coding system is used to record what is found and when. Cod liver oil.
Cod liver oil.
Codpiece.
Codpiece.
Codswallop.
Codswallop.
What a load of codswallop.
Coed.
Coed.
A co-ed college.
Coeducation.
Coeducation.
Coefficient.
Coefficient.
In 8PQ, the coefficient of PQ is 8.
Coelacanth. Coelacanth.
Celiac disease.
Celiac disease. Coequal.
Coequal.
Coerce.
Coerce.
The rebels coerced the villagers into hiding them from the army.
Coercion.
Coercion.
The defendant explained that he had been acting under coercion.
Coercive.
Coercive.
Coercive measures to reduce absenteeism.
Coexist.
Coexist.
Wealth coexisting with poverty.
Coexistence.
Coexistence.
The coexistence of two systems of measurement.
Over 50 years of peaceful coexistence.
C of E.
C of E.
Coffee.
Coffee.
Do you want a cup of coffee?
Do you like your coffee white or black? Who wants a coffee?
Dinner guest chatting over coffee.
A jar of coffee.
Instant coffee.
I haven't got any real coffee at the moment.
Coffee bar.
Coffee bar.
Coffee bean.
Coffee bean.
Coffee break.
Coffee break.
Coffee grinder.
Coffee grinder.
Coffee house.
Coffee house.
Coffee machine.
Coffee machine.
Coffee maker.
Coffee maker.
Coffee mill.
Coffee mill.
Coffee morning.
Coffee morning.
Coffee pot.
Coffee pot.
Coffee shop.
Coffee shop.
Coffee table.
Coffee table.
Coffee table book.
Coffee table book.
Coffer.
Coffer.
The money from the exhibition should swell the hospital's coffers a little.
Coffin.
Coffin.
Cog.
Cog.
Cogent.
Cogent. A cogent argument for banning the drug.
Cogitate.
cogitate,
Cognac.
cognac,
cognate,
cognate,
The German Hund is a cognate of the English hound.
cognition,
cognition,
The regions of the brain that are responsible for memory and cognition.
cognitive,
cognitive,
Cognitive psychology.
cognizance,
cognizance,
Cognizant.
cognizant,
He was cognizant of the peculiarities of the case.
cognoscenti,
Cognoscenti. Cognoscenti.
cogwheel,
cogwheel,
Cohabit.
cohabit,
cohere,
cohere,
All the details are there and are correct, but they don't cohere.
coherence,
coherence.
An overall theme will help to give your essay coherence.
He had a coherence of outlook and thought.
A common religion ensures the coherence of the tribe. Coherent.
Coherent.
The 3 years of the course are planned as a coherent whole.
A coherent account of the incident.
He sounded coherent, but he was too ill to have any idea what he was saying.
They were never a coherent group. They were never a coherent group.
She could not think coherently. Cohesion.
Cohesion.
A sense of community and social cohesion.
Cohesive.
Cohesive.
A cohesive community.
Historically, sport has been a cohesive force in international relations.
Cohort.
Cohort.
Mark and his cohorts eventually emerged from the studio. A cohort of 386 patients aged 65 plus. A cohort of 386 patients aged 65 plus. A cohort of 386 patients aged 65 plus.
Coiffure.
Coiffure.
Coil.
Coil.
The snake coiled around the branches of the tree. Her long hair was coiled up in a plait at the top of her head.
He coiled the rope.
A coil of rope.
The coil in a light bulb.
Coin.
Coin.
Toss a coin to see who goes first.
Making the rules is only part of it. How the rules are carried out is the other side of the coin.
Great opportunity and great danger are two sides of the same coin. Great opportunity and great danger are two sides of the same coin.
The word aromatherapy was coined in the 1920s.
He'd thought the flight would never, to coin a phrase, get off the ground. He'd thought the flight would never, to coin a phrase, get off the ground.
BT, at its profitable peak, was coining it at the rate of £90 a second. BT, at its profitable peak, was coining it at the rate of £90 a second.
Coinage.
Coinage.
The gold coinage of the Roman Empire. The phrase glass ceiling is a fairly recent coinage.
Coincide.
Coincide.
His entry to the party coincided with his marriage. When our vacations coincided, we often holidayed together. The show is timed to coincide with the launch of a new book.
The interests of the U.S. and those of the islanders may not coincide.
The cloth had a natural look which coincided perfectly with the image Laura sought. The cloth had a natural look which coincided perfectly with the image Laura sought. The journey coincides in part with the Pennine Way.
Coincidence.
Coincidence.
I'm going to Appleby tomorrow. What a coincidence. I'm going there too. By coincidence, John and I both ended up at Yale. It was sheer coincidence that we were staying in the same hotel. I think it is more than coincidence that all the complaints have come from the same group of people.
A coincidence of interest between the mining companies and certain politicians.
Coincident.
Coincident.
The rise of the novel was coincident with the decline of storytelling.
Coincidental.
Coincidental.
Any similarity between this film and real events is purely coincidental.
We have become profitable. Not coincidentally, we have only half as many employees as we did in 1988.
Coinsurance.
Coinsurance.
Health coinsurance.
Coinsure.
Coinsure.
Coil.
Coir.
Coitus.
Coitus.
Coke.
Coke.
Cokehead. Cokehead.
Coal.
Call.
Cola.
Cola.
A can of cola.
Colander.
Colander.
Cold.
Cold.
She splashed her face with cold water.
A blast of cold air.
We slept on the cold ground.
The house felt cold and empty.
The radiator is stone cold. Isn't the heating working?
My tea's gone cold.
Come and eat, or your dinner will get cold.
It was so cold this morning, I had to scrape the ice off my windshield.
The day was bitterly cold.
The hut sheltered her from the cold wind.
The coldest winter on record. It was raining and freezing cold outside.
The weather gets colder around the middle of October. The weather gets colder around the middle of October.
The nights grew colder.
Could you turn up the heater? I'm cold. I feel so cold.
My feet are as cold as ice.
A plate of cold meats.
A cold buffet.
Serve the potatoes cold.
Martin was really cold towards me at the party.
His voice was as cold as ice.
She gave him a cold stare.
A cold, calculated murder.
The plan failed after sponsors got cold feet.
The cold light of a fluorescent tube.
The house seemed less threatening in the cold light of day.
Opera left him cold.
I tracked the boy as far as the factory, but there his trail went cold. You're getting colder.
Statistics can be merely cold facts.
I've got a bad cold.
Keep your feet dry so you don't catch a cold.
I was shivering with cold.
Don't go out in the cold without your coat.
He chose to favour us one at a time, and the others were left out in the cold.
Paul stopped cold. What was that noise?
He drank until he was out cold.
You were knocked out cold.
I can't just get up there and make a speech cold.
Cold-blooded.
Cold-blooded.
A cold-blooded killer.
Cold-blooded murder.
Cold call. Cold call. Cold comfort. Cold comfort.
The drop in the unemployment figures is cold comfort to those still looking for work. The drop in the unemployment figures is cold comfort to those still looking for work.
Cold cream.
Cold cream.
Cold cuts.
Cold cuts.
Cold frame. Cold frame.
Cold front.
Cold front.
Cold fusion.
Cold fusion.
Cold-hearted.
Cold-hearted.
I had no idea you could be so cold-hearted.
Colditz.
Colditz.
Coldly.
Coldly.
Well, what can I do for you? He asked coldly.
Janine looked at her coldly.
Coldness.
Coldness.
There was a certain coldness about him. The icy coldness of the water.
Cold shoulder.
Cold shoulder.
Cold snap.
Cold snap.
Cold sore.
Cold sore.
Cold spell.
Cold spell.
Cold storage.
Cold storage.
He aims to please, even if it means putting his principles in cold storage. He aims to please, even if it means putting his principles in cold storage.
Cold store.
Cold store.
Cold turkey.
Cold turkey.
Addicts who are made to go cold turkey.
Cold war.
Cold war.
Coleslaw.
Coleslaw.
Colic.
Colic.
Colitis.
Colitis.
Collaborate.
Collaborate.
The two nations are collaborating on several satellite projects.
During the late 70s, he collaborated with the legendary Muddy Waters.
Researchers are collaborating to develop the vaccine.
Elephants collaborate in looking after their young.
Vigilantes began combing the city for anyone known to have collaborated with the enemy.
Collaboration.
Collaboration.
The company is building the centre in collaboration with the Institute of Offshore Engineering.
A collaboration between the two theatres. The project has involved collaboration with the Geography Department.
Collaborative.
Collaborative.
Collaborator.
Collaborator. Their job was to identify enemy collaborators.
Collaborators on a biography of Dickens.
Collage.
Collage.
Collagen.
Collagen.
Collapse.
Collapse.
Uncle Ted's chair collapsed under his weight.
The roof had collapsed long ago.
He collapsed with a heart attack while he was dancing. He collapsed with a heart attack while he was dancing. He collapsed with a heart attack while he was dancing. Marion's legs collapsed under her. Marion's legs collapsed under her. Marion's legs collapsed under her.
The luxury car market has collapsed.
I thought that without me the whole project would collapse.
There were fears that property prices would collapse.
I was so exhausted when I got home, I just collapsed on the sofa.
The legs on our card table collapse, so we can store it in the closet.
The collapse of the Soviet Union.
The threat of economic collapse. His business was in danger of collapse.
The collapse of an apartment building during the earthquake.
The ancient abbey was in imminent danger of collapse.
The president said he was fine after his collapse yesterday.
She suffered a collapse under anesthetic. The collapse of the stock market.
A collapse in the value of pensions.
Collapsible.
Collapsible.
A collapsible chair.
Collar.
Collar.
He grabbed me by the collar.
He loosened his collar and tie.
The police collared him less than 20 minutes after the robbery. He collared her in the staff room at lunchtime and started telling her about his holiday plans. He collared her in the staff room at lunchtime and started telling her about his holiday plans.
A high-collared blouse.
Collarbone.
Collarbone.
Collard greens.
Collard greens.
Collarless.
Collarless.
Collar stud.
Collar stud.
Collate.
Collate.
A computer system is used to collate information from across Britain.
Collate.
A computer system is used to collate information from across Britain.
Collateral.
Collateral.
We put up our home as collateral in order to raise the money to invest in the scheme.
Hitting any non-military targets would risk collateral damage.
There may be collateral benefits to the scheme.
Colleague.
Colleague.
A colleague of mine from the bank.
She discussed the idea with some of her colleagues.
Collect. Collect.
After 25 years of collecting recipes, she has compiled them into a cookbook.
The company collects information about consumer trends.
We've been out collecting signatures for our petition.
Arlene collects teddy bears.
The landlady came round once a month to collect the rent.
I'm collecting for children in need.
Rain collected in pools on the road.
Solar panels, for collecting energy from the sun.
I didn't know what to do with it, so it just sat there collecting dust.
Redgrave collected his 5th Olympic gold medal in Sydney.
I got there early, so I had a few minutes to collect my thoughts before the meeting began.
Martin's gone to collect the children from school. I've got to go and collect the book I ordered from the library.
A crowd was beginning to collect around the scene of the accident.
Can you collect up all the dirty plates and cups?